Happy Thursday as we come up on the eve of the Golden Globes. This Sunday, we're going to have an amazing ceremony. We're hot off last Sunday's Critics' Choice. You might be wondering who these lads are. Well, we'll start here in this purple zone. I am Byron, the founder of Awards Focus, a National Arts Entertainment Journalism Award winner for my time at the Hollywood Reporter, which was lovely, and also a member of Critics' Choice, as well as the Astra Awards and the Society of Composers and Lyricists, where we have now our 8th annual awards ceremony for independent and studio songs and score at budget levels that vary. So it's an opportunity to put a lot of opinions out there, clearly. Joining me is the YouTube sensation, Matthew Koss. The Wandering Screen has done wonderfully well, thanks to you, your detailed reviews. You're a tactician of the verbal skills, my friend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Mr. Ben Lei.
Yeah. Good to see you both. We rarely get together, so it's fun to finally get to do something like this. But I'm, I guess I'm the newest of the three of us to Awards Focus, although it's been over a year now as a contributing writer and also keeping an eye out on multicultural topics as well. And then I also started a podcast called United by Rice, which, thanks to the partnership with Awards Focus, we've already done 43 episodes and recorded 2 more this week. So we're going strong there. And that podcast is focused on the AAPI audiences. So it's
the AA audience,
bit of a niche.
A whole nother audience.
That's your audience, maybe, Byron, but not so much this one.
There's always time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we were going to, I think, talk about the Globes, of course, but since this is our first video that, we haven't put one up like this as a trio ever, but certainly the first one in this award season, it'd be great to just kind of go around the room and what was everybody's favorite film this year?
I think that's such a tough question, favorite film. I will say that this year has been an incredible year of film. I've had the most fun this year watching movies. Maybe, not fun watching Hamnet because that was absolutely devastating and tore me to pieces. But the quality of films this year has surpassed, prior years, like out of the water. And I've really enjoyed Sentimental Value and watching the family dramas of Hamnet and Jay Kelly, even though I had problems with that script. But then you've got Marty Supreme, which was so kinetic, and Begonia, which was so fascinating. And it's just been an absolutely wild year. And the film that really sticks out to me is Train Dreams. I just totally fell in love with it, and especially seeing it on the big screen, which Netflix doesn't, have the greatest window for films in the theater.
Sure.
But that was really fantastic.
Yeah, they're doing live to orchestra tonight of Train Dreams. So shout out for Netflix for supporting live music to picture.
Yeah, they keep doing it too.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Byron, you have a favorite or kind of standout theme of the year for you?
The publicists do amazing work on these campaigns to get the talent out there for interactions, for questions they don't normally get. I remember a morning in a Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson donated small screening room, my second viewing of Begonia with Ben, and then sticking around with the craftsfolk and learning that there was literally, the plan was Jesse Plemons coming in shaved head, and they're all like, oh, no. And they built that beautiful hair. And not only when he puts his suit on to interrogate Emma Stone's character, but the hair goes in the bun. And I'm like, well, that's just extra layers of magic that we didn't know. So there's so much for us. I think it goes not beyond the film, but when you understand the elements in the film and the stories behind there, it does enrich a film, I think, in a very wonderful way. And so my decision on a favorite film would be simply to say, I think that One Battle is the front runner.
Sure.
And I would say that if I would say this film wouldn't bother me if it won and beat One Battle, I would say that list includes Marty Supreme. It's coming on late, but it's coming on strong. So I'm excited to see how a December release may build and may feel a little more fresh. Because you could argue that One Battle has slipped ahead of Sinners, which I think is a stronger contender and has a strong narrative, a story, and the financial success certainly blossoms or blows
And
one battle out of the water.
and your Oscars handicapping really, because in the Globes, remember they split film into drama and musical and comedy. So they've actually put Marty Supreme and One Battle After Another in the musical or comedy category. And so, we'll talk about Sinners is actually, maybe Sinners was dealt the best favor in that, right? Because then they would probably be the favorite in the drama category. They've got Hamnet in there, as well as Frankenstein and some other Secret Agent, other films that will definitely get a lot of attention too, especially from a global audience. But well, this is my first full year doing this with Awards Focus. So everything you said, Byron, about kind of getting an inside look and hopefully providing an inside look to our readers and viewers has just been eye-opening as a film critic, film fan, and I think there's so many favorite stories, but like you, Matthew, Hamnet like crushed me. Especially everyone's going to talk about that ending forever, and then you start to like peel back the onion and hear how that last scene came together, and it was improvised by Jesse Buckley, and it brings another layer of depth to understanding these films. But as far as favorite films, like that one, I don't think the first half of it connected with. It just felt like trauma porn for a long time. So I don't think I could put it as my number one. I do. One Battle After Another just feels too safe. I almost don't want to put it there because I think come Oscars time, I'm going to want it to win. But that film, the more I see it, the more I think of it. I really do still just love like how every shot was put together. Benicio del Toro's long sequence and all that stuff was so great. Maybe I'll ask a more fun question, but easier question maybe to answer is, what was your most disappointing film this year? One that's probably not on any of these lists, but that you had high expectations going into 2025 or the beginning part of this year.
Matt?
You know what? I kind of expected it as well, but Wicked for Good, after seeing the first one, I thought this should just be one film. Like, put an intermission in. Who gives a shit? Just let us watch the whole story unfold. And when Wicked for Good came out, it felt like it was rushed, and it didn't feel like it was really in the same the narrative of it was missing from the first film, and I think that was such a shame. And you kind of see it represented in the box office too, how it kind of slipped off in the second week and third week. Even though the performances are fantastic, the craft of it is so essential. Like the editing as well, they really did the best they could. But I think the studio decision to break it up into two movies, we see the results of it in Wicked for Good. So that, to me, was the most disappointing one.
I think you said it too, though. I did almost expect that. I remember watching the first one and saying to my daughter, remind me what happens in the second half. Wasn't that all the good songs already? And that's kind of true, right? And so the best part of Wicked for Good is for good. It's that one last song that's from the original, and it's like the last 20 minutes of the film. And Ariana shines. Like, I would, if I had a vote, I might actually still vote for her, even though the film was subpar. But yeah, I agree with you. That was not my most disappointing, I don't think, but definitely disappointing. I think my most disappointing was The Materialists.
Oh my God.
And it's only because Celine's song and Past Lives was probably my favorite film of a few years ago, right? By leaps and bounds. And so I had such high expectations. And I don't think it was awful, but it definitely didn't meet my expectations. And I thought Dakota was kind of flat, and
she is a flat actress, though. She is not such a draw card, and I'm sorry. I saw her in Splitsville as well, where she was much better, but as an ensemble cast. But as the lead of The Materialist, she really didn't carry that film in the way that she could have.
Yeah. Byron, What film did you?
Oh my God. Will I ever be hired again?
Oh, God. What's it going to be?
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's something. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much in that film that was really great and enjoyable. And I feel like perhaps for me, seeing how James Gunn's three Guardians films are revelations in their each unique way. I mean, I feel like the one qualm that became a strength was sidelining Star-Lord in Guardians 2, just playing ball with his dad, and then you got to see all this great richness with Rocket, Yondu, which leads to the Mary Poppins moment, very heart-wrenching beauty. So love that. I thought season 1 of Peacemaker, which was fabulous and rich, and his Suicide Squad was fabulous and rich. And there's no question the sort of ne'er-do-well, sort of run and gun, adventurous folk that maybe don't have the deepest thoughts, but their hearts are there. That's really special. And I think transforming that process into Superman was a tricky one. And I think it'll be hard for anybody to stick the landing on a great superhero launch of a franchise with a movie like Superman. I think the casting was wonderful. I think, again, the score is wonderful. The shots and all the setups were great. And a lot of the plot I enjoyed. But I just, knowing the pedigree of James Gunn, like even if I rated that as an A-, B+, whatever, wherever it falls, I still was thinking A+, Guardians 3 type reaction.
Yeah.
So that's a nice way of saying it's an indictment of expectations more than the actual film.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and it's hard to have higher expectations for a superhero film than for a Superman film, right? And but I similar. I think I had very similar thoughts about that film too. Like I thought, okay, James Gunn's track record is almost perfect in the superhero space, so this is going to be fantastic. Byron, do you feel? I don't think the movie was perfect, but do you feel confident with the DC universe in his hands, though? Do you think he showed enough in this movie to say, okay, yeah, it was an A+, but now I have all the confidence in the world that the next Superman or Supergirl and other characters that he brings back are in good hands, and we will see a real competitor to, the MCU.
Well, I got to say, I always think of everything as the lens of a kid that watched Predator at age 7. But it did strike me the way that Supergirl is being represented as not necessarily a figure of hope and sort of misanthropic and misbehaving, running around being an alcoholic. Here's the Supergirl. But it did sit with me as not a parent, but like, is this kind of an image or message that we want to send off? And again, it comes back to James starting with flawed characters that find their way to a better place. And I wouldn't call it a story crutch, but it's a tool that he uses very well. So I could see why he would support Supergirl, who seems to be lacking empathy, very apathetic in the trailer, that by the end she's going to care like her cousin.
Sure.
So these are all great narrative arcs and they're beautiful, but I don't like starting a character in places that doesn't necessarily feel right to me. And I think of like when Gary Oldman's Jim Gordon was divorced and his wife left him, but the only reason they destroyed his family relationship was so he could run around on this island that was held by terrorists without logic being like, well, I can't play a cop. I got to stay at home and protect my kid and my wife. I got to, there was an argument that Jim Gordon's not going to, especially after the events of the finale where Two-Face has his son. So they're like, okay, let's just write his life turned into shit. Like everybody's life was just shit. And it's just not what I like to see. It's the Luke Skywalker episode 8 all over again. The guy that kept saying, there's good in him. I believe it. He's like, there goes my lightsaber. It's like, I have a real problem with setting characters in a path, especially if they're familiar to us, that doesn't feel earned.
Well, that's probably why some of those other movies have been so good, though, right? He's usually actually choosing characters that aren't top of mind, known characters. They actually, if you start them out as flawed or they're flawed in their journey, it's not hurting our soul in any way because we have no childhood attachment to that character. So it's an interesting point. I forgot there's because what's the other DC? What's his other film coming? It is a lesser character, right? Outside of Supergirl.
Well, remember he's got Clayface written by
Clay, yeah, yeah.
wonderful Mike Flanagan, who's done
Okay.
amazing work.
Yeah.
So it's like I was going to make the joke that you're asking me. Okay, after Superman, is the DC universe in the right hands? It's like if I ordered a 30-day massage treatment thing, and each massage was $300, and the first one was pretty good, and you go, well, was it worth it? It's like, well, I got 29 other guys coming in or gals with different hands. Like I can't say. So if James was going to do every movie as a true writer, creator, director, all that, that's one thing. But we're starting to now see, like, Lanterns was running by my industry friend, which means we talk 4 times a year, and it feels like enough. Chris Mundy, who did such great work on Ozark.
You love
But
me.
Chris Mundy came on to do Lanterns, and I trust Chris implicitly with any character. So
Yeah.
I love that, and I'm sure you guys have seen Ozark, and now you see his fingerprints in a superhero world. It could be fun.
Yeah.
Did you say that
For sure.
Mike Flanagan is moving to the DC world?
He wrote the script for Clayface, I believe. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, to me, it doesn't even matter. Like, Marvel tried it with so many different directors coming in and thinking the director was going to change things, even like Chloe Zhao.
But then the studio
Like,
keeps
Right.
The studio, it's the studio intervention that really, for me, as the non-comic book reader, watcher, fan, it all amounts to the same film in the end to me. So Superman and Fantastic Four were all just, here's the superhero, here's the new cast that you know from this show or this show or this movie, and they're going to fight this villain who they probably shouldn't be able to beat, but we're going to make it so it's just going to be easy enough that they actually do defeat it in the end, and then we're going to have a post-credit scene letting you in on something else that's going to happen. And I think it's really telling, like with Marty Supreme, they showed the trailer for the next Avengers film alongside the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's new film. And then there was not a single applaud during the Avengers trailer, but when the Odyssey came on, that's when the audiences were really like, oh shit, there's some really good stuff coming. I can't wait for the Odyssey. And I think that comic book fatigue is really showing.
I didn't see Marty Supreme in the theater yet. Did Nolan films, they often do like the 6-minute prologue instead of a trailer?
No,
it
was very short.
It was just the trailer? Ah, too bad. Okay. Well, along the same lines, is there a film that is in the awards conversation that most surprised you?
I mean, I do have one. It's I thought that it should have been a better film than what it was, and I thought it was a lot of smoke instead of substance, and that's Jay Kelly. I thought the performance of Billy Crudup is what really, and Adam Sandler, really saved the film. I thought the writing from Noah Baumbach was surprisingly flat and really contrived as well, and borrowed far too much from Clooney's life for there to be a differentiation between this Jay Kelly character and this George Clooney phenomenon. And it just it really just did not work well for me. And I'm surprised that it's in a lot of the conversation and that it's been nominated for, Best Picture at the Critics' Choice. It didn't win, obviously, but I'm just surprised that it's all over the place. And I think it's more due to the names than anything else.
Sure. Because they came out, were they at Venice? I think Venice or I remember the initial reaction was pretty strong too, but then when it hit Netflix, there wasn't much. And I think once it hit Netflix, the wind has started to leave the sails a bit. So I'd be surprised if they pick up any wins along the way, to your point. But they are there. They are present at the awards. And
they're taking up categories. They're taking up space.
Yes. The question for you on that film, either of you, Byron, I don't know if you saw Jay Kelly yet, but
I saw it twice. It was much better on the second time. I really.
Let me ask you.
I was really enthralled the second time. The first time, it didn't strike me in the same way.
Okay,
but
I'm curious in either of your opinion, because George Clooney, to your point, they lean so heavily on George Clooney to the point of just showing all his clips. Exactly. Do you think if it was someone else, let's say Brad Pitt, his buddy, but the film could have been better because Clooney
Jesus Christ
has.
couldn't have come in and played the part better. I mean,
Okay, well there you go.
script problem. If there's a problem, it's in the script. I found it very engaging for what it was. In the pantheon of cinema, it's a watercolor Birdman that got dropped in a puddle. I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen it done with more intensity, with more emotional stakes, with more insanity by Alejandro Inarritu, who is now going back to comedy with Digger with Cruise, because I think
Mm-hmm.
the last movie was such a just a miss in terms of not speaking of the quality of the film, but just any sort of traction. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, the Birdman thing was kind of great, and so now he's got a huge star. He's got an exciting new take that plays in tone, and I think when the tone is being played with by this gentleman, it's some of the best dramedy you can find. So I think that's a great thing. But to the point is like Jay Kelly has moments of greatness, and there should never have been two daughters. Let's just be straight. Because
Mm-hmm.
we didn't get into either of them. It's
Too
like
much. Too much.
five
Yeah.
pairs of shoes, and you try and make sure you spend the time with all of them. It just can't work. And I love all the people that are in this.
There shouldn't have been that side story with Adam Sandler and Laura Dern that they had a past
Laura Dern should have
relationship.
been cut entirely from the movie, and I said I wasn't going to get too ballsy on this, but regardless of if you like her part or not, the chances of Adam Sandler winning an Oscar would double if he could take that screen time and go deeper into maybe he's losing another client, maybe he's begging that one to think about it. And he's like, well, it's because everybody's leaving you. So if you stem the bleeding, I'll stay. So now he's like saved one client as long as two more don't leave. And now you're getting into almost some of that Birdman type energy. So yeah, I would have cut Laura Dern, not anything to do with her art or who she is as a performer, but just to give that Sandler role a true shot at a win. I think he's great in it and deserves a nomination for what we see from him. It's a really deep, emotionally complex performance.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
more screen time gives him a real shot.
He's the highlight for sure. The reason I asked the question about could you swap a different actor is because, and maybe this isn't, but I feel like based on the script, you're not supposed to like Jay Kelly. You're supposed to not have empathy for him. And I think George, I can't help but look at him and like him, right? And he's, you have empathy for him at the end, but I feel like you're supposed to feel like he is getting what he's deserved too, right? So I don't know. Food for thought. Well, where do you want to go next, Matt? Do you have a question, or do you want to jump into the Globes?
Well, yeah, Ben, what about you? What about, the surprising films that you had this year?
In terms of like ones that ended up being better or maybe more liked than others. Okay, I'll be honest with this one. Might just be I have a bias toward these type of films a little bit, but I didn't love Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And not only is Jacob Elordi getting, a lot of attention, and he got the win at Critics' Choice, but the film itself, I didn't come out of that saying this is one of the best films I've seen this year. So that would definitely be one. That was a surprise. I would say K-pop Demon Hunters, which I've been a fan from the beginning, is but a surprise to me in the sense that nobody saw it coming. Right?
No.
Yeah, and while it is still largely restricted to, the animation and song categories, when you truly write the story of 2025 and the biggest films, it's right up there. It might be number one on there, right? So that one, that was fun. And I actually saw it ahead, I got the screener for it and I watched it. And, I don't watch a lot of, neither Korean anime or listen to a lot of K-pop. So even the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty entertaining, but I don't know if it's special. I have no benchmark. I don't know what good K-pop sounds like. So that movie took off like a whirlwind and really hasn't stopped. So, that would be my other surprise. But in terms of the prestige level attention, Frankenstein definitely is the biggest surprise. Like, I was shocked, to be honest. And I don't mean to obviously be critical of anybody, but when Jacob Elordi beat Stellan Skarsgård and Adam Sandler, like that level of competition at Critics' Choice, I was surprised.
Yeah. I want to know from both of you as well, what was a film that you saw that you wish more people had seen?
Oh, I've got a lot of those. I do. I mean, I think you mentioned it earlier, but Train Dreams, right? Like, I guess I'm not surprised that that's not going to be one that a lot of people are going to gravitate toward and see on their Netflix queue and watch. But
Mm.
like, you can't even find it in the Netflix scroll right now. That's how far out of mind it is for your casual viewer. And yet, that was beautiful looking film, beautiful sounding film, and just like there's not much I can find about that film that I didn't like. I mean, I get that it's not like a pick me up type of film that a lot of people need these days, but that was definitely one that I wish, but I'm not sure who has seen any film, right? Like even One Battle After Another, people are talking about being a box office disappointment. So maybe all of them, Matthew, I'm not sure.
What about you,
How about you,
Byron?
Byron?
I would say I loved Frankenstein's score, production design, all the things. So I just want to put a little love out there for
Okay.
Frankenstein, but
Yeah.
respect your take. Um, when it comes to, and I also just heard Desplat do like a 6 minute suite live last night in Hollywood of a small little performance. Wonderful.
Okay. Yeah.
Really inventive score. And that's a tough category. So I'll see if that evolves or if Ludwig's got it locked for Sinners. For me, I just think Begonia didn't reach the audience and should have. And I just think there's the audience in the world and then there's the critics' audience. And I think doing 3 films in a row is tough. If you've won recently, that sometimes can be tough. I think The Revenant carried a lot of steam from the Birdman win 2 years before. But there was a gap year. I think Kinds of Kindness was a miss creatively. Whatever they got out of that artistically for themselves, I love it for them. But if we're just talking award strategy and positioning, that really hurt them to do 3 in a row, with the second one being unconnected as it was. And also, from an appearance point of view, it was really hard to get some of them in terms of the mingling and the types of conversations. So you were limited to what you heard on stage. Like, they supported the movie, and God bless them, they must be worn out from 3 films plus 3 campaigns. That's that's tough. But in a lot of these circumstances with the films, not only will the crafts folks stay around, which not all panels have crafts folks. So I love that Focus put together a really great panel of talent. And then they also had a wonderful Critics' Choice brunch conversation available to talk with the writer, Will Tracy, who did The Menu, which is another great piece. So they've done a great job with that. And I think, being able to interact more and more with Emma and Jesse. And I was lucky enough to see an early conversation with Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse. And then Emma was speaking with the director and the crafts team that morning that Ben and I saw it. But just the story is so rich. It's a great adaptation. It's something that I think could have connected more if there was more heat around Yorgos coming back after a tiny break. And oddly enough, I think some of the Frankenstein love would be higher if for some reason it didn't somehow have this weird connected tissue to Pinocchio, where everybody was like blowing up over Guillermo and Pinocchio. I feel like now it's not the posh thing to love Guillermo again. It's like we gave him the unbridled love once for a whole award season, and now it's like, what else can we support? Which I think is really tough, because I love what Guillermo did here, and he's at the stage of his career where he's getting Netflix to give old school physical theatrical production budgets to build ships, build all these things. So I think no matter what he chooses to do story wise, he's going to build some of the most breathtaking, intimate, real, physical, interactive sets for these actors to feel the most like classic cinema. So I hope that people take that in consideration as he moves on to the next films.
Yeah. Begonia, I feel like might have been a marketing issue too. So not take it outside of the awards discussion, but just the question of, did a lot of people see it? I don't know. I feel like in my area, it was marketed as a Halloween film, right? It was, I think the release date might have literally been Halloween. and it's really not a horror movie, right? I mean, there's like some horror elements to it, but I felt like they chose, her bald, bloody face and head as like a lead marketing image, and then had it released on Halloween. That I think a lot of people who might have enjoyed it because it's good political commentary, because it's good sci-fi, just didn't watch it. And I think they kind of failed from that regard. So I agree with you. I thought that film was fantastic. I wish more people would see it.
There's a lot of artists that could give a damn about the best chance for the money if you sacrifice their art. And I feel like a hyper fast cut, like you talk about it leaning horror, there could have been more horror. The broken up frames with the riser and the sound as she's tugging on her leg thing and she's screaming. Then you hear the big subwoofer go boom, black screen, and then she goes in the recording, okay, I'm ready to talk. Yeah, and that's not the movie you're getting. And I know a lot of directors that would fight like hell and say, what are you doing to my picture? So I feel like marketing wise, when it's not just a genre film and it's with a real director of that caliber, you're not going to have carte blanche to say, well, this is the way we sell 2 times the tickets. And he's like, I'll take 1.4 times the tickets with some dignity. And I think I have to side with the artist. I mean, you've probably all seen these popular trailers of like twisted 90s and 80s movies with the new thing, like Dumb and Dumber is a horror movie, like, right? So it's like that just sort of highlights what happens with today's trailer sometimes. When Denzel did Flight, the whole trailer was him turning upside down. We're going to have to invert this thing, Zoom, and then like that's literally the opening act, and it's a beautiful character drama. But they totally tried to get more people there on the promise of aerial danger.
Yeah. On the topic of Frankenstein, I think there's a point to be made about veteran filmmakers releasing a film and the consensus being that they are deserving of an award nomination because they've had a film come out, and the same could be said of Yorgos Lanthimos as well. Just because there is a film coming out doesn't mean necessarily that that is a film that needs to be nominated. I mean, I think Frankenstein and The Craft is fantastic. I thought some of the performances were not as great. Oscar Isaac could have been a bit better in the film. But I think also alongside that is that sometimes with like Begonia, the titles can be an issue when they come out, and especially in drawing an audience to go see them. And I think that in the marketing strategy, like the title has a lot of value. And I think something like sentimental value as well is just like a very on the nose title that I think people might have missed out on seeing something really special because the title itself suggests what you're seeing already. One battle after another. Like it's not the greatest title in Paul Thomas Anderson's, filmography either.
No.
But I think it's a shame when, and I've got people that I know that have said this that will ask me, is this movie any good? And my answer will be, go see it and determine for yourself, because you can't always take what someone says to be gospel about a movie. There's so subjective that you just need to go see a movie and see if you enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, that's also part of the movie going experience. You don't have to enjoy everything, and it becomes a conversation point too.
Yeah, well,
I would love for us to have our own lingo for film analysis, because when you said that, it struck me when you said Oscar Isaacs could have been better. And I feel like when I think about Hayden Christensen and the early prequels in Star Wars, that feels...
come on, Oscar Isaac wasn't that bad.
I feel like if anything with someone where it's like, it really is great work, and it's defined and thought out and fully formed. It's almost like, I think he could have been on a different wavelength or taken a different way in, because what he is doing is really fantastic acting, but it was in a way that didn't connect with you and maybe a larger set of the audience. So it's like, I can't fault his talent there, but sometimes people take the wrong swing in terms of that process.
Yeah, well, I think we're all clear that,
I loved
as
it though.
critics,
I
yeah,
agree.
I think we're all clear as critics. It is still a subjective topic, and we're all expressing our opinion. We're going to the Astro Awards tomorrow, and Scott Menzel, who does such a lovely job with that, Wicked for Good is number one on his list, right? So we all have different opinions, and they could be extreme. But I think we're generally talking about a group of films that on average are well done, right? You can't debate the craftsmanship of most of the films that we're talking about, and they're each going to hit us a little bit differently for sure. Um, well, the Critics' Choice just happened. I'm sure Matt, you read about it, and Byron, you were there. Any major surprises or takeaways coming out of that awards before we talk about the Globes?
I think. Oh, you go, Byron.
I mean, the Lordy win was a surprise. It's a very competitive field. I think Sean Penn's work and the arc of that character is much richer than Benicio. I think Benicio came in and built this thing and added layers and layers and just really showed what an actor can bring to a piece beyond the page. And so he excelled in what he was given. And Benicio has done a good job representing the film, talking about the process and gaining steam. The problem is already there was a portion of people that just latched on to Lockjaw, the character that Sean Penn plays.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Sean's done very, very little press. And
mm-hmm.
so, short of somehow saying, I don't want to be nominated, leave me out of this, Benicio's always going to have this Sean Penn problem, which maybe is a term people have used before. I'm kidding. But, it's like it's going to pull. There's that split of the vote on one battle, and that makes it very difficult. Um, that's a great. I mean, all the
So,
categories
so
are
are
great.
you saying that you think Elordi might have been the beneficiary of them splitting the vote on one battle after another?
I think that's
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
that's fair.
And
Yeah,
then, but people say Stellan Skarsgård is the guy that deserves this, and I can't disagree with that. So
yeah, he was fantastic.
it
And then
could.
Sandler was in there too, right? To your point, it's a loaded category. So I agree with you. I said that up front with the Frankenstein opinion I offered, that I was surprised that Elordi walked away with that award. Yeah. How about you, Matthew?
I think they're all loaded. I think there is no way to tell who is going to win any of the upcoming award ceremonies. And we just got the SAG nominations the other day, which are
Yeah.
pretty similar to what we're already seeing with the Critics' Choice and Golden Globes. And, in a couple of weeks, we'll have the Oscar nominations too. And there's no telling who is going to win because there are many deserving people in each of the categories. And I think that makes this award season more exciting than prior because it really could go in any direction. I was really happy to see Jessie Buckley win the award for Best Actress at the Critics' Choice, but Rose Byrne could have
Mm,
easily won it herself, or Amanda Seyfried as well, who
yeah.
unfortunately missed out on a SAG nomination. And
Yeah.
then Timothy Chalamet wins for Marty Supreme, but there's no saying that Ethan Hawke might not win, or Michael B. Jordan or Wagner Moura couldn't win for his role in The
Yeah.
Secret Agent. So I think what is really being set up right now is just an open playing field.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, if you compare it to last year, you had a Nora that ended up more or less not sweeping every awards and winning everything, but you had a Nora, The Brutalist, and Conclave, right? I think were the three that were always kind of. So I guess it's a little similar to last year, but I think the acting categories, like you're calling out, are the ones where I wouldn't know how to vote. It's like I love so many of these performances. Like, Jesse Buckley, when I watched him, and especially knowing that she improvised part of that last scene, I'm like, just give her the Oscar right now. And then I watched Rose Byrne, and I think Rose Byrne had won a couple of the Critics Awards right before Critics' Choice, so she had a
Yeah.
lot of momentum. It's like, boy, like every category is definitely loaded, and it goes back to your original point when we started. It's been a good year for film. There's a whole other business side of movies that we're not discussing today, but from a critical and a viewer point of view, I think it's been a really, really good year of film. A lot of films that stuck the landing, right? Sometimes you got a lot of films that are really good for 80% of it and the ending sucks, but I feel like there's almost the year of the ending. Like the endings have been great in so many of the films we're talking about.
Exactly. Well, that brings us also to the Golden Globes. If we're speaking about Jacob Elordi, the category of the Golden Globes is very similar to what it was at the Critics' Choice. So, gents, I'm going to read out the nominees and we're going to discuss who is going to win the Golden Globes. Knowing the history of the Golden Globes, too, which is, there are a lot of nominations. Ben mentioned earlier, they split up the comedy and drama categories because, thriller and horror don't exist, apparently. But also you can't really distinguish between the categories because Marty Supreme isn't a comedy. It's like stressful as hell. And, that makes me laugh nervously while watching the film because I'm just stressed. I'm not actually laughing.
Yeah.
Anyway, when we come to the supporting role, that's actually the combined of both the categories. So we have Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Who do we think will win? Exactly.
Yeah.
I could see Sandler with a surprise win from those lovely folk. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about like the Globes history with each of these actors, right? Because the Globes are funny in that way. They love
but
celebrities.
Stellan is universally appreciated, and this might be a category where he could get a recognition.
Well, when you said Sandler, I was thinking one thing I know about the Globes is they love celebrities, right? They love the big movie stars. So that's, I could see Sandler here too for that reason. So there's a who you think you're going to win, who you think should win, and there's a who you think will win. If it's a will win, boy,
it's a tough one.
I still have a tough one here. I'm going to go with Sean Penn though. I'm going to go with the big name, the big character swing, and the big film. I'm going to go with Sean Penn on this one.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
I think looking at Adam Sandler, it's interesting that the last time that he was nominated for a Golden Globe for a film was Punch Drunk Love, when he was really moving away from the comedy and trying, into the drama sort of film. And I think there might be a slight leaning towards him and a favor, not a favor, but a look at his role as something being different than what he's previously done before. So I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Sandler takes it. I think he will win. Who I think should win, I thought that Sean Penn was just on another level and battle after another.
Yeah. Did Byron, were you Sean Penn on this one?
I think it could be Adam. I think Sean, for a variety of reasons not related to the performance, is, I guess, sliding into runner-up category. But no, what he did was, there's nothing in the film that was anywhere close to as good as what he did in that part. It was beyond the sum of the whole thing. It was revelatory. I mean, even Leo said you could play that with just like bold strength, but he was such a broken man, and how Sean slid that into even the scene being tough. He says it was a revelatory choice, and Leo doesn't kiss ass. He's pretty much straightforward. He won't say anything if he's not interested in speaking.
All right. Well, I've written down Sandler for both of you, and I wrote down Penn for myself. I'm going to take notes, and we'll put this on the side, and we'll see how we did afterwards. All right, I like it. So,
female.
Yeah, best female. You want to read them off again?
This is going to be difficult too, because we've got Amy Madigan, who did win the Critics' Choice Award. Then we've got Emily Blunt for The Smashing Machine, Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value, alongside her co-star Inga Ibstotter Lilius for Sentimental Value. Then we've got Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, and we have Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another.
Well, I'm going to keep Keep the one battle love. I have to say, Tiana Taylor was amazing. The sentimental value vote gets split, and maybe Ariana because people have said that didn't like it, which I'm wearing my Wicked sweater. But people that wanted to take a metaphorical slash and burn approach to what they thought of the sequel, they all still said Ariana was amazing.
Yep.
So it could be the culmination of 2 years on this project, two exciting releases. I could see Ariana coming in over Tiana Taylor. That's a big star versus, an unknown. And her screen time in that depletes quickly. And they shot more apparently, but didn't make the cut. But she is electric on the screen, so it's just tough to get in the mind of what they're appreciating more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would say, oh, you go, Ben.
Are you sure? Okay. Well, I would also go, personally, I would vote for Ariana. Just the talent level, let's not forget that she also can really sing, right? And that should be, she should get credit for that in this role too. And so, I feel like she character acted this role for like 4 years of her life and is splendid in it. But I do think the film ultimately will weigh her down in the final voting. Like I think it's interesting, right? Because if the reception to the second Wicked was as good as the first, then I'm sure voters would feel really good about giving her the award, and maybe even Cynthia Erivo, an award, and it certainly would have been nominated. But because it's off the more disappointing film, I think it's going to be bad news. And I think Amy Madigan, this isn't my personal opinion necessarily of their performances in this category, but I think both that film and her performance are so well loved that she may be the only person on this whole sheet that more or less sweeps all the awards is I'm going that way. I think all the other categories you're going to see a lot of, you may see Leo win, you may see Timothy win, but I think this is one where if there's a category that could be dominated, it would be Amy Madigan.
I'd like to add real quick so we can keep going through these categories and staying on point, but voting windows matter. So the Critics' Choice win tees up Oscars. That's what that's tees up. And in fact, there was a really brilliantly organized event. Literally, Pam Abdi was there to support Warner Brothers. Amy was there. It was short. It was sweet. It was a screening and a beautiful little one-on-one conversation. And
that's the one that Mikey Madison was at too, right?
Yeah,
like Mikey Madison introed her, right? Yeah.
It was just so sincere and so wonderful. And that was AMPAS and Critics' Choice that screening was shown for, if anybody hadn't seen it or wanted to also be at the reception. And it was just a great way of, because I really hate the bias toward any sort of summer release, March, summer. It's just in such a hole compared to the other awards films. So it was brilliantly put together by some of the best PR people in the business. And it really was impactful. So I'm sure that was a healthy reminder of a movie that you loved, 6 months ago. The question is, if the Globes were 90% voted on before Critics' Choice, do they have the internal stamina or courage to put a name out there that seems like kind of a wild card, some would say. So I think you'll see the ripple effects of Critics' Choice at AMPAS voting the most. I'll be curious if the Globes hadn't kind of been voted on before that surprise happened.
And I have you. Did you say Ariana, Byron, or Tiana?
Well, I split it between the two. It
you depends. Pick one for who you think is going to win, not who you want to win or is most deserving.
Who I would say
there might be people listening that are going to bet money on your decision here.
Well, I'm trying to think the way they think, and that's the trick. Yeah. I really do feel like Sentimental Value is a strong pick because it is one of those films with a lot of great.
Well, now you've gone a completely different direction.
I know.
You just introduced two new actresses in it.
From this category. I'm abstaining from the category.
I have you written down as Ariana. I'm going to stick with that one for your vote.
No, put me on Tiana.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
taking the force of nature.
All right. Okay, Matt.
Well, I think Emily Blunt is a fantastic actress, but I think she took the spot of Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners, so I would have put her in there instead. And I think, unfortunately, the sentimental value actresses kind of cancel each other out. That similar to what Byron was saying with the past category, that they would split the votes. I think when I think about supporting roles in a motion picture, I think about the lasting effect of that performance on the entire film. And Tiana Taylor really has that for One Battle After Another. I did not stop thinking about her, hoping that she would show up for the entire rest of the film just to see what she would be like in the future and if she would appear. But I think, and I love Amy Madigan's performance. I hope she gets an Oscar nomination, but I really do think that Ariana Grande will win this category for the Golden Globes. And that will be like her win for this award season.
Yeah. And it would be really Wicked's win for 3 years of award season, right? I know they've gotten some craft awards, but as far as like any of the big ones, like that would be I think great to see. I'd be happy to see that too.
Yeah, and Cynthia Erivo really had the first movie, especially with the songs that appear in that first half of Wicked, and then this latter half was really Ariana Grande's, and I think if anything, like she does deserve for this movie.
Yeah.
And we're going to see more of her in the future, that's for sure, acting-wise. Like, I don't think this is the last time she's going to perform because she is very good, and I think she can only get better too.
Yeah, she's one of those people that you've seen her on SNL and talk shows for a long time, right?
Well, I don't think Liam Neeson gets worse. I think he gets more tired, and I think he gets a little less involved in the process.
What are you talking about? The
There's
Naked Gun was amazing.
He's talking about those 9 VOD ZG movies.
Which, I mean, they're interchangeable. I don't know what the difference is with his character, but, he just shows up, he reads those lines or gets fed them in his ear, and we got a movie.
For all we know, him, Nicolas Cage, and Gerard Butler are making the most money of any male actors out there right now because they keep just making those movies straight to streaming.
Nicolas Cage going to be in the new True Detective season, so we're going to see.
We're going to see him come back.
He's going to have a McConaughey resurgence.
Yeah, the McConaissance comes back in the form of Nicolas Cage. Yeah. All right. So we should move on to, I guess, Best Actress, right?
Let's get into the actress.
Okay, so we're going to go to musical or comedy for actors first. I don't know which of these are a comedy, but let's go ahead with Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, George Clooney for Jay Kelly, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Lee Byung-hun for No Other Choice, and Jesse Plemons for Begonia.
I'm glad Jesse got in. Marty Supreme, Timmy, buzzer down.
Yeah. I since we haven't mentioned this, maybe I'll spend 15 seconds talking about Lee Byung-hun and No Other Choice because he plays such a fun character in that film, and he has to play it in a way where he's, he's in a lot of pain, he's suffering, he's carrying the weight of being able to support his family, but it's also like a lot of slapstick comedy, the type of stuff that you will see and dark humor that you'll see in one of Park Chan-wook's films. He's tremendous. He's not going to win this, but he was tremendous in that film. I think for the Globes, I'm going Leonardo. I might change my vote when the Oscars come around with Timothy, but I think for the Globes, I kind of think of the Globes as like, hey, we don't want to reward the young 20-something. We want to reward the big superstar in terms of how they sometimes think. So it's not a pick based on who I think was better in their respective films. I think they're going with Leo.
We haven't spoken much about Blue Moon yet, but Blue Moon is one of Richard Linklater's films from this year, along with Nouvelle Vague. which not my type of film, but film lovers really love it. But Blue Moon is so wordy, and it is a remarkable feat that Ethan Hawke just captures your attention for the entire film. And I think he's so deserving of this win. I was so surprised by this movie. I think that he could win, and I would really like it if he did. But I actually think that maybe Jesse Plemons will win this category.
That would be
I think
awesome.
the Hollywood
shake
foreign
the camera.
press, the Hollywood foreign press, like I think they would love a film like Begonia, and I think his performance would really impress them. Just as Leo would, or George Clooney, or Timothy, but I think Jesse Plemons really it's so different than anything else that we've seen him do. I think this might be his to win.
He's fantastic. I mean, and it's a lot of just him talking, right, for a good majority of that movie, and he has to convey, the mood and the tension of that film just through monologues. I think, I again, so many great actors on this whole list. I can't be too upset any way it goes.
Exactly. All right. Are we going to do the female actor in a musical or comedy?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. We got Rose Byrne in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is not a comedy, but it is very funny. Cynthia Erivo in Wicked for Good. Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue. Definitely a musical, not funny. Chase Infinity for One Battle After Another. Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Ben Lei. And Emma Stone for Begonia. All right. Who are we going to go for? This is really tough, people.
If Jesse wins, I think Emma has to win. I think if they're high enough to put Jesse ahead of Chalamet, Emma Stone will then slide, because this is, again, peak Emma Stone. Best Emma Stone she's ever done, maybe surpassing other performances where she's won the Oscar. She's so different. It's so brilliant on a second watch. It's just a cerebral absorption of this beautiful artistic feat. And Jessie Buckley in her category, when they combine later, it's a purely spiritual, emotional truth connection. It reaches out and grabs you in the audience, and it's just 5 out of 7 years. If you just drop Begonia somewhere else, she'll win the Oscar 5 times out of 7. I feel 100% confident in that statement. But yeah, so in this category, I mean, look, Searchlight is a great studio. Is This Thing On came up with nothing. There could be that sort of moment where, the Searchlight pulls in a win with Amanda, who worked hard on this and did a brilliant job. You always do seem to find that no matter where it ends up in what category, there is a vindication for everybody that's quote unquote in the game. So with that sort of weird thought sleeping into my head, I think there's a chance that could happen. Especially in a world where everybody feels like of sure things, which we've had some before. Jessie Buckley feels like a sure thing. So there's almost more freedom now in this category, because whatever you're picking, it's not going to affect the ultimate outcome. So that makes the category itself interesting, when you know that you're not crowning a competitor when you have that leader in the game. So I'm very curious what you guys are thinking.
I think Rose Byrne is winning this. I think people like her. I think she's never been been nominated before for mostly comedic roles that she's done. And just the film was so surprisingly good. And I just don't know that, I don't feel like Emma Stone's name has been out there that much during this award season. So while I don't disagree with your sentiment that this could be her best performance, she's deserving, I think this is Rose Byrne's category for the Golden Globes. And it will be really interesting when Rose Byrne has to go up against a Jessie Buckley. But I think Rose has it above most of these others. Chase Infinity, I think they did her a disservice. But I understand you didn't want to have potentially 3 actresses in Best Supporting, but in many ways, I don't think she was in the film much more than Tiana Taylor, right? And so Although maybe nomination is all that was important for her at this stage of her career, because she probably wouldn't have won in either of them, I guess. But yeah, and then I think we've talked about Cynthia. This first, if there was a chance, it would have been the first one.
Yeah. I completely agree with what you said about Chase Infinity, because she has a fantastic performance, but it is more of a supporting performance to Leo's role.
Made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's great to see her in this, and we will certainly, like Ariana Grande, see her in many more things to come. She is
Yes.
like hot property in Hollywood at the moment. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to see where her career goes. But in terms of who will win, I mean, I'm tossing up between Rose Byrne and Amanda Seyfried, and we haven't really spoken much about The Testament of Anne Lee, which I think is still in limited release in the US and coming out in a couple of weeks in a wider release, which is such a shame, because it is a phenomenal film, and we've got these director partnerships like Greg Quetta and Clint Bentley. Greg Quetta, who directed Sing Sing last year, and then Clint Bentley, who did Train Dreams. And then we've got the partnership of Brady Corbett and then Mona Fastvold. And this is them switching over for Mona to direct. And it's like a radical film in so many ways. And the musical numbers in this film, not just in the singing, but more so in the dancing and then the shaking, they're so visceral that sitting in the theater watching it, you feel like you're almost shaking yourself and wanting to be a part of whatever it is that they're experiencing.
Yeah.
And it's incredible filmmaking, and Amanda Seyfried is just phenomenal in the role. So I think she's really deserving of the nomination here. But I think Rose Byrne is just on another level in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, that I don't know how many other actresses could pull off the way that in one single sentence she can oscillate between almost on the verge of tears, and then saying something sly and funny, and then sharp, and then going backwards. And also the close-ups, the mega close-ups that Mary Bronstein, the director, has on her. There's nowhere for Rose Byrne to hide. So I think it would be really great to see her win. I think she's going to win this.
Yeah. Yeah. And Amanda's, it feels like her time is coming soon, though, right? Like, she actually has another hit movie out, Housemaid, where that's not like award fodder, but she's just always good, and she's super talented. This is what, third, fourth film where she's also singing a lot, and not just like average person singing, but she's a great singer. So I don't think you can go wrong with either of those choices. This is probably the category that I'm least confident of picking the winner, to be honest. Like, it's so again, all over the place. It could go any way. All right, so now we're moving right to actor.
Male actor in a drama. Now, can I just say, Jeremy Allen White is nominated for Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. And can I just say, is that not a musical? Would that not be classified as a musical film? Like, how do they decide where people go?
I guess so.
Bizarre.
Wow.
It's
so
really.
I will say this. I don't think there's a single song.
Is this
in that
the Martian
film
2025?
I don't think there's a single song that he sings from beginning to end in the film. So if there was a reason to rationalize it, then you would say, well, it wasn't a movie about music. It was a movie about Springsteen and making this album. Either way, I don't think he should have been nominated. So I would maybe just kind of lead with that
to finish it off.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jeremy Allen White. I felt like the film was just what if the bear had to reconcile with his father instead of his mother in season 4 of The Bear, and can't articulate how he feels. Like, he was playing the exact same character, right? And that movie, had I thought of it earlier, I would have also said, like, that was one of the more disappointing films I saw this year. So,
well, fortunately, he's double nominee at the Golden Globe, so I don't think he's going to win for the Bear for season 4 because
Remember when Leo was double nominated and didn't bring it home for either Blood Diamond or The Departed?
Yeah.
That was a great year for him.
Yeah.
I mean, the accent in Blood Diamond, okay. But
I was hooked, but this is the Kentucky boy, so
But the
All
other
right, well,
in this category, Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine, Oscar Isaac for Frankenstein, and Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams.
Have any of these actors won any of the Best Actor awards yet so far? Because I'm trying to, because
you're on the right track. Ben, you're on the right track because ultimately
it's been like, Leo, right, or Timothy, right?
Yes. So ultimately, you have a split in the opposite direction for both categories, where Leo and Timmy are put in that comedy category, leaving this wide open for a bold choice.
Yeah, it's wide open. Wide open.
Flip was done with the Jessie Buckley, obviously, for drama actress. So I think Dwayne Johnson could be on that stage making a truly deeply emotional accepted speech, because this is a time when you can take a big swing and award something and give somebody a moment to make television electricity. I mean, we've not had, you think of Roberto, maybe it's Bellini, but the gentleman that ran across the rows of chairs to get his Oscar for the Holocaust movie with the sort of fake game that was being played. It was Life is Beautiful. Yeah. So they want those type of moments. And I think you can get that with The Rock. I think Dwayne Johnson is an actor that's put a lot of his self out there. There was a recent variety article this week. Wonderful. It feels like it could be a time to give that man this moment. And do I think he's heads above everybody in that category? Absolutely not. But when it's like a horse race and each one's getting a shoulder in front of the other and it's just kind of all fluid, you can make, as a voter and a voting body, a very, specific choice there. So it's, again, I'm not picking my choices. I'm trying to tell people what could come out.
Win. Yeah. I could see that just for the stardom too, and how just beloved he is. I also know how powerful the Brazilian film lobbying group is, and absent of an obvious winner in this category, I'm just going to go with that and go with Wagner Moura.
Yeah, and also Wagner won the Cannes Film Festival Best Actor. So if any of the Hollywood Foreign Press was sitting in that audience, maybe they'll favor him too. And also thank you to the Brazilian audience for always supporting The Wandering Screen. I think Michael B. Jordan is such a phenomenal actor, and he could have won a Golden Globe for Creed, for Fruitvale Station. There's many other performances he could have won for, and Sinners, he was absolutely remarkable, and I think hopefully he impressed enough to take this one home. Because if he's up against Timothy and some of the Wagner again, in the Oscars, I don't know if he'll come out on top, but I really think that Michael B. Jordan.
There's no chance he'll get Best Actor. I think I'm going to say that now, that regardless of merit, Michael B. Jordan will not be on the Oscar stage with the trophy.
I think that's, unless there's a huge Sinners movement overall, I think you're probably right. And I would love to be
some uncomfortable conversations, Ben, and I don't mean to, because I think they've done a great campaign, but Warner saw Sinners as their baby, and then One Battle comes out, and there's almost a necessity of highlighting the artisan and the craftsmanship behind it, because it didn't make profit, and Sinners did. And now you're Michael B. Jordan, having shepherded this baby with Ryan Coogler, and you're neck and neck in terms of the promotion with One Battle, and it's like, okay, I get PTA, but also we brought you guys money. We are the ones that find that people theaters matter. So there could be some personal you know,
Topic for another episode for sure.
I just
Yeah.
feel like what Ryan and Michael did, and Delroy Lindo, and everyone involved in the songs and the score, and just the big swing, it deserves so much praise, and the fact that I can say that I guarantee you he's not going to win for best actor, it's tough.
Well,
It's tough to have that happen.
Well, Miles.
I agree with you. Go ahead, Matthew.
Oh, sorry. Miles Canton won the Critics' Choice, and then he was just nominated for a SAG Award. So it'd be interesting if he gets a supporting actor nomination for the Oscars.
Mm-hmm. Although for critics though, it was that category that doesn't exist anywhere else, like the best new performer or something,
new actor, sort of thing. But, it's still a bit of a leg up for him, which would be great.
I mean, I think to what Byron's saying, I mean, Sinners, though, I think has a legitimate shot at winning Best Picture, but I agree that he's going to have a hard time winning Best Actor, and it's part of it could be these politics, but a lot of it is they're great competition in this category. But ultimately, I would love to see it, Matthew. If that happens at Golden Globes and it's his best chance to win it, then give it to him.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to female actor in a drama.
Oh, come on.
And
yeah, this is our quickest conversation. We'll go ahead and read them and then we'll move on.
It might be a bit difficult. I don't know. But Jessie Buckley in Hamnet, Jennifer Lawrence in Die My Love, Renate Reinsbe in Sentimental Value, Julia Roberts in After the Hunt, Tessa Thompson for Hedda, underappreciated, people need to watch it, and Eva Victor, Sorry Baby.
Yeah. Agree that she's always one of my favorites, so agree with you on people should watch it. She was great. So was Nina Haas, who is getting nominated. Right?
Where's Nina Haas?
It's an abomination that she's not in the conversation.
Yeah. But I can't be convinced on anyone other than Jessie Buckley out of this list right now. Like that, I don't ugly cry too often, Matthew, but she had me ugly crying.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence as well is probably a Golden Globe darling, I think we can say. So if her name does get read out, I won't be surprised. But I'll say Jessie Buckley too.
I think the films for Lawrence, Julie Roberts, as well as Rental Family for Searchlight, Is This Thing On? They're all dead. So the fact that a few of these fit in some nominations is nice, and I'm glad the pictures were recognized. But they are out of this race. And when it starts heating up for the Oscars, you won't see a trace of any of those films in there. I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, Is This Thing On? There was a lot wrong with the way they did that. I mean, what is Will Arnett doing in the lead role? Like, why is that not Bradley? Anyway, we can do a whole conversation on it.
I think you're going with Jessie Buckley.
Mm-hmm.
Byron. Yep. Okay. All right. Matthew, take us down to, I think we'll skip a couple of the, animated and non-English and maybe go to best musical and comedy.
Yeah. I mean, if K-pop Demon Hunters doesn't win animated, like, what are we doing,
But I was sitting there at Critics' Choice and sitting there thinking, okay, are there still a lot of voters who won't watch it because it's in Korean and Zootopia just surpassed $1 billion? Sometimes you just don't want to take it for granted, right?
I would almost say, even though Zootopia is performing so well, that Arco could be the sleeper.
Neon.
Yeah, I mean, there are other good things, but let's try not to be too creative here. Just do what should be done. The nominees here, right? Best film for musical or comedy: Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Nouvelle. Do you say it Vague? And then One Battle After Another. Again, I don't know how they categorize some things musical or comedy, but those are the choices.
I don't know how
Who wants to take it?
Yeah. I have no idea.
I go Marty Supreme. I think it's only going to pick up steam. It is, as much as Good Time and Uncut Gems felt like an evolution of the same type of thing because the energy is so similar, but the energy is so unique. Marty Supreme felt like it was a family member, but it wasn't sharing the DNA as much as Good Time right into Uncut Gems felt. It was it was rich with choices. It's truly the most creative film in the sense you get Kevin O'Leary, you get the homeless guy that, hey, I've got the voice of radio, and they hire him. Another TikToker was griping about the Knicks, and Josh Safdie throws him in there. It's just every choice is bold choice, bold choice. And Paltrow comes back and a clearly shut out, an erroneously shut out performance, and what she's asked to do. She's so revelatory with just her presence. She's not trying to do anything. It's just in that moment, under that circumstance, and showing it so beautifully. I can't see anything beating that except One Battle already did. So, wrong theory. No, I think Marty will pick up here, and I think Marty can pick up the Oscar. I think it's going to be the little engine that could.
Well, I think the more people watch Mighty Supreme, the more divided we're seeing reactions, because I think a lot of the critics have been divided on how good it actually is. And I can see, in terms of the story and the table tennis aspect of it, that it does get lost in the middle portion of it, and table tennis kind of like bookends the film rather than becomes more of a propulsive element. And there's a lot of segues, a lot of like diversions from the story. So I can see how Mighty Supreme could maybe lose to One Battle After Another, because I think One Battle After Another is more critically revered in a lot of ways, but the filmmaking in both films is phenomenal, and the performances, and like you're saying with the casting of Mighty Supreme, it was entirely interesting watching who was going to pop up. And it wasn't like a Wes Anderson film where it was like, oh, this A-list, this A-list, this A-list. It was like, what the hell is this Shark Tank guy doing here, Mr. Wonderful? And he was so fantastic too. But I think One Battle After Another is going to win this one.
Yeah, I don't. Until it happens, I'm not going against One Battle After Another. And I think part of this is, we didn't go over some of the other categories, but I think they're going to want to give Best Director to Paul Thomas Anderson, and therefore they're going to give the Best Picture award to One Battle After Another. I think they're keeping those two together.
There's always Argo. Argo, different director. Ang Lee for Pi. We still win the award.
Yeah, it happened. Hey, look, Affleck didn't even get nominated for it, so it happens. But until it happens in this award season at some point, it's too good of a film. And
until it happens to you, Lady Gaga and Diane Warren.
Will she ever win?
Writing on the Wall was probably the worst Bond song ever written, and that was Sam Smith with a collaborator, and it beat the Joe Biden introduced rape song with all the survivors on stage. And I said the problem is that should have been done in the voting window. Like, you get those people together then, and because it's beautiful on stage at that moment, but it has no effect then on the outcome. But
there's a lot of revisionist shows we can do about rewriting previous awards for sure. Well, Matthew, why don't you take us to our last category?
We've got the drama category, half a neon films. And let's see, it's Frankenstein for Netflix, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and Sinners.
Hard not to imagine Sinners wins. It also bookends a story. If One Battle gets comedy, then Warner Brothers comes out with both best, as it's in the middle of the heated sale. It creates a powerful narrative, and you can never discount the elements of what goes on in these folks' heads that vote in such a smaller body. With Critics' Choice, you have a lot of voters, and it's good because it disseminates, an overall taste. At the size of the Globe's voters, you've seen a period of things coming up in terms of nominations, and sometimes win. I'll say the nominations are wilder than the wins. Like The Tourist always comes to mind. Get Angie and Johnny.
That was just so they would be in attendance
in the room. Exactly.
That was a Best Picture nomination at one point in time for the Globes.
The
I think
Tourist.
comedy. Yeah.
Oh my
There's a big
gosh.
writer on that. I can't remember if it was Akiva Goldsman or somebody. Like,
Yeah.
there's a big writer put on that didn't pan out. But
Okay.
yeah, I think give them both, Sinners in one battle, and now you got a hell of a press release Monday, and it's exciting, and Sinners deserves recognition.
Well, and you have Marty Supreme, so you give Warner Brothers one win at least in that combination with Sinners, right? I I didn't even think about what a good narrative that is for Warner Brothers, and whether Harvey Weinstein from his jail cell is still pulling shots, but I don't
only Jello shots at this.
Yeah, I have no reason to disagree with Sinners. I mean, and like we talked about, it might be the only big award they win in the Globes, and perhaps even through the
SAG cast ensemble is a hard argument not to give.
So I would give it to Sinners.
Warner Brothers leaves with that win.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers getting cast for sure.
Take all that other stuff aside. Sinners was, I still, when I get asked what was your favorite movie of the year, to me it is Sinners or One Battle After Another. I do love that film. It's highly rewatchable. It's like culturally very deep. The music's great. Like I think people need to keep watching it. If they didn't love it the first time, they got to watch it again because there's so much that film has to offer. So that would be my pick.
I think there were an awful lot of songs in Sinners for it not to be considered a musical, if I do recall.
This is also true.
You have been the gatekeeper on rules tonight. I love it.
I mean, what are the rules of the Golden Globes? There are no rules, clearly. So
was Begonia more of a comedy, or was Sinners more of a musical? That should be the next debate.
Exactly. But I think it's a toss-up between Hamnet and Sentimental Value. I'm not sure if Sinners will take this home. I think Sentimental Value was there was a lot of steam behind it before Christmas and New Year's. And now that we're in the new year, we're really getting into the award ceremonies and seeing who's winning and more nominations coming up. And Sinners is definitely getting a lot more momentum now than it had. Sentimental Values has kind of dropped. But in terms of the voting period, I think maybe Sentimental Value might have come out on top for this one.
That is a pretty good call. Well, gentlemen, we only agreed on one category, which is Jessie Buckley. So we shall see how we do here in a few days. But this
is there a shot Paul Mescal comes in and upsets, like, let's just say, who would be the wildest upset? Would it be The Rock for Smashing Machine to come forward? Would it be Mescal? Who, I mean, if you think about
wildest and possible, Kate or wildest overall,
Kate could come in.
Kate Hudson.
I think that's one. She's beloved.
She's very good to me, and I love her, and I'm glad that she made some really brave choices in this film. I really loved the accent, and I loved the sort of being a woman of an age and showing that this is a woman that was not all glitz and glam. She had a great voice, and she was there to support her husband. So from the commitment to the aesthetic, to truth, to this really wonderful story. And if you watch it a second time, I can't say how much even more I appreciated it. So I'm glad that she's getting, it's a type of a performance that used to be the talk of the Oscars, the 90s, the early 2000s. And then it's become who's got the most needles in them and their parents, it's like hardcore trauma stuff. And this sort of, I saw a fellow critic who I respect greatly call out inspiration porn is still alive and well. And I was like, for someone that doesn't like to be attacked and is posted about those sorts of things, no need to have shots fired on Kate Hudson for doing a wonderful job on this thing. I don't think that that's a fair accusation. I think it was a really good performance, and the movie and the script, if you want it to be darker, more more lean, intense, then you make the movie. I think this filmmaker had a clear vision. Craig was great. I think the team behind it, John Fox and the other John, And they said, and you talk about narratives. I mean, everybody passed on this film, and then Focus Features, who's probably the best year Focus has had. I mean, you talk about Begonia, Hamnet, Song Sung Blue. It's a great set of films to be released, and
Sure.
everybody passed. And this was Hugh and Kate willing to drive into New Jersey each day. I think Kate probably stayed near there, but Hugh, of course, lives in New York.
They
So
drove, or their drive drove them?
I would be surprised if they just got their hands dirty on this one, but I can't comment because I don't know. But going to New Jersey every day and taking 1/20th or 1/50th of your normal paycheck to do a character-driven movie because it felt right is just exciting to me. And I think that's what keeps people. I mean, people aren't going to come out here like I did from Kentucky or Matt from Australia if it turns out you're just taking the biggest paycheck for the biggest, spectacle type thing that's not inspiring, that's not asking questions. When you hear the stories of A Song Sung Blue, it's why people will keep coming out here to try and have the little movie with the heart made. And I think so. To me, that's nice to see it rewarded. And the Globes love Kate. They always have. She's a wonderful person. I could see that being the upset of the Globes, maybe.
Well, you know what? So that's a good one. I think another upset that I think would be more shocking, but also in the category of possible, is Julia Roberts beating Jessie Buckley.
I was going to say the same thing.
Because who doesn't love Julia Roberts in the whole world? And
Exactly.
she's and who knows how many more opportunities she's going to get, as a Best Actress nominee. And I could see something like that happening.
I mean, I think she's going to have plenty of roles to come. Like, she's incredibly castable. Like, she's a name. She's always going to be a name. But I think
I know
that, like, if she wins, I would love it because I enjoyed the movie more than, it was more than a lot of people actually did.
Yeah. And I don't mean that she's done in Hollywood. I just mean, like, she doesn't seem to want to work that much, right? She doesn't do that many do that many. She's not Nicole Kidman, right? So I think from that perspective, people haven't seen her much. People love her, so she could really get that sentimental. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be one that if it happened, I wouldn't be shocked.
That would be the shock that I want to happen. Like, let her make it happen.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun. We covered a lot of ground. We'll find out who I guess all of us are going to be wrong a lot, so we'll find out who was least wrong on Sunday. And it's been great talking to you, and hopefully we'll do more of these in the near future.
You guys too. Thank you.
Yes. Cheers. Pleasure.